What is up, guys? It's the English Football Channel here, back with a neutral view, where tonight we watched Watford beat Reading 2-0 to go a step closer to securing automatic promotion. It's a knock to Reading's playoff hopes, but there was plenty of positives for Reading to take from this game, especially in that first half, so let's get into the match report and analyse this game as we go along. So getting into the game, it took just 4 minutes for Watford to get the first chance. A long coup forward from the keeper, Liam Moore, who had a torrid first half, fails to deal with it. Sarr gets in front of him, chests the ball down, slots it through to João Pedro, who shoots across the goal but puts it just wide. Then in the 12th minute, Watford do go 1-0 up. Feminine down the right hand side. The left back Gibson looked completely lost, and I do have some sympathy with him as he's a centre back being played out of position against the best winger in the Championship, and nobody is giving him any support or tracking the runs. He's left 2-on-1 with Feminine, slips the ball through to Sarr, who cuts inside and curls a lovely effort into the left hand side of the goal. Watford exploiting that right hand side, and Moore has to take some responsibility. He doesn't get out to Sarr anywhere near quick enough, and to allow him the time to pick out a shot like that is criminal. And it's the same story 2 minutes later. Lewis Gibson was just having a nightmare, messing about at the back with the ball and gives it away. I don't know why Richards wasn't playing. I can only assume he wasn't fit enough, and I know he's not perfect, but he defended the 2 goals far better than Gibson did. But the ball gets slipped through to Sarr, and it's an incredibly tight angle, but he smashes it across the goal. An unbelievable finish, but once again Moore doesn't even get close to him. He just backs away, and if you get closer to Sarr, he's either got to square it or take you on, but at least you close the angle and prevent him from smashing it into the net. And after the second goal, you're thinking Watford will go for the kill now and really put this game to bed, but they just seemed happy to stand off. Reading started to see a bit more of the ball, and Watford became really passive and allowed Reading to really grow into the game. And what also struck me was how sloppy Watford became in possession. If Reading weren't so wasteful in front of goal, it could have cost them, and that was shown in the 27th minute. Shabala gives the ball away, Laurent drives forward, gets into a good shooting position but puts it wide, failing to punish the sloppy passing out from the back. And then Reading really started to cause Watford some problems, particularly with that direct, skillful, pacey dribbling from Ejaria, Olise and Méïté, which was a joy to watch, and that's exactly what we saw in the 32nd minute. Olise goes on a lovely weaving run, plays it out wide to Méïté, who squares it to Puskas, and it's an open net, but he puts it right at the post. He's got to score there. The only thing I will say is that it is fizzed into him at some pace, but even so, you'd expect him to score. Then in the 35th minute, Watford do get a goal disallowed. Messina puts in a superb cross from the left-hand side. Sarr slots it into the left-hand corner, wheels away in celebration, thinks he's completed his hat-trick, but he was just marginally offside. Then the next big chance for Reading came just on the stroke of half-time. Again, Watford in this first half was so poor and sloppy passing it out from the back, and it's Truce who attempts a cross-field ball, but it falls straight to the feet of Méïté, who controls it. He gets beyond Sarr, he's one-on-one with the keeper, and instead of keeping his composure, he just blasts it wildly into the side netting, and that was the story of the first half for Reading. Since going 2-0 down, they were playing well, they were creating chances, they were getting into good positions, but they were just missing that final clinical touch in front of goal. And at half-time, it was 2-0 to Watford, with the difference being the 2 lapses of concentration in the defence for both goals, which were punished by 2 moments of magic from Ismaïla Sarr. Considering Watford were 2-0 up, they weren't really playing that well, and the international break just seems to have knocked their momentum a bit. They were poor in possession, misplacing passes, they had no control in the midfield, they were gifting Reading chances and were quite lucky to still be 2-0 up. And as for Reading, you're not going to win games when you're making costly errors at the back and being wasteful in front of goal, no matter how well you're playing. Now, getting into the second half, Sanchez was brought on at half-time for the injured Nathan Chalobah, but when Sanchez came on, he was superb. He looked really comfortable on the ball, he kept it simple, and he just seemed to settle Watford down. He looked so calm and assured, which is exactly what Watford needed, and he was a big part of why Watford saw this second half out so comfortably, and it was a rather uneventful second half. The first note I made was in the 62nd minute when João came on for Puskas, and for Reading, you're hoping that João's goal against Derby would see him come back into form, but he just doesn't look like the same player anymore. When he came on, he didn't do much, and he showed some really poor touches, and it was a substitution that made no impact. Leaving one striker up front when you're chasing the game isn't showing a sign of any ambition. And why didn't he just try João and Puskas up front? He was happy to throw balls Baldock and Yakou up front in the 88th minute, who actually came on and did well, but why not go for it sooner? Then in the 75th minute, João Pedro really clatters into Tom Holmes with an elbow, and looking at the replays, it should have been a red. Very silly and petulant, but even if it was a red, I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the game much. At this point, Reading weren't as effective going forward. Watford did a great job nullifying that attack, and they controlled the game and possession so well in the second half. And after that promising first half from Reading, they just didn't come out with that same intensity and creativity, which is why the game really drifted away from them. Now, the first real noteworthy chance of the second half came in the 80th minute, with Sanchez whipping a shot just past the post from about 20 yards out. Then in the 84th minute, Sarr shoots wide just from a corner. Then in the 95th minute, Baldock flashes the ball across the goal, but Méïté can't direct it in, and that was that. Not a pretty performance from Watford, but they got the job done. 12 points clear, they can sit back and see what Swansea and Brentford do. Whereas for Reading, for the first time this season, it looks like they're going to be the ones chasing the playoffs rather than the ones being chased. A huge game against Cardiff coming up next Friday, where at that point they could possibly be 5 points off a playoff spot by the time that game comes around. So that is the video for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy. I've got more Championship and General Football League content coming up, but for now, I hope you guys enjoy your weekend.